Are you ready? The final phase of the crypto bull market has started, or what some would call the fifth wave, with Bitcoin hitting new highs and some altcoins are starting to wake up. And the Fed has cut rates by 25 basis points, and former SEC officials are saying the new SEC chair will come in and wipe out lawsuits against Ripple and Coinbase and others. I'll share the details there. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Apple or Spotify, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, I'm sure many of you saw the news. The Fed will continue its rate cuts. They are going to cut rates by 25 basis points. We had Jerome Powell speak today. Now, this was anticipated. The markets and different analysts had a sense that this was around the corner, and it's what we've been talking about for a long time, that we have officially left quantitative tightening and we're going back to quantitative easing. They had paused the rates, now they're cutting, and of course, in order to service this debt and to pay for all this, they're going to have to print money. It's the status quo, the same story, right? But this is bullish for assets because asset prices are correlated to global liquidity. So when you add up the M2 in the United States and in China and so forth, asset prices rise against the continued debasement of currency. So this aligns with what Bitcoin and the crypto market is doing right now, even the stock market. Now you add Trump into that mix because Trump is seen as a pro-crypto candidate and that would kick out Gary Gensler and all these things. It's the icing on the cake. There's an added bullishness, euphoria here. So we could expect a strong move as we continue into the remainder of Q4, guys. And Bitcoin, of course, continues to move upward. Right now, it's near $76,000. We have officially broken through key resistance levels and we've entered price discovery. So we could see Bitcoin, as we head later into this month, head towards 82K. I think that's the next price point. And remember, the cycling of the liquidity will then flow to the alts. We're actually seeing Ethereum waking up, and Solana has been moving as well. So liquidity is starting to flow through the market here, guys. Very bullish, but the majority of the liquidity, enters through Bitcoin and then it flows down to the alt. So even if you don't see your altcoin moving yet, it will eventually. But this is why you diversify. This is why you hold Bitcoin, ETH, and so forth. So you maximize as much of your returns as possible. And many analysts are highlighting that we are entering into that fifth wave, the parabolic phase. Here, Rect Capital highlighted that Bitcoin is on the cusp of transitioning into the parabolic upside phase of the cycle. And we've been in that boring accumulation zone for 5 to 6 months, of course, and now we're leaving it, guys. So very, very bullish. I want to remind you guys, PSA, public service announcement, please have your plan written down, which price points you're taking profits at, because things are going to get euphoric. The feeling of greed will return, guys, and it will seem like this bull market will never end and that it's going to continue to go higher. There will be a top and there will be a bear market. Walk away from this bull market with profits and make sure that you are paying attention. This is the time to start paying attention as things starts to heat up and you want to know where we're at in the cycle, right? You got to pay attention, guys. So things are looking good. I'm feeling bullish based on the macro, the charts, and what the data is telling us. Now, remember Italy said they were going to raise capital gains taxes and much more on Bitcoin? Well, we're starting to see some backtracking here. Like I said, I told you guys at the time that they would revert, and that I've been saying ad nauseum for years, any country that goes against crypto, tries to ban it or whatever, they are writing their economic death sentence. Capital will leave their country, their economy. So the economic minister said, I am willing to consider different forms of taxation for people who keep investments in their portfolio. Yeah, you better do that, buddy. You better do that. Mike Novogratz, Galaxy Digital CEO, had their Q3 earnings call, and I want to highlight something he said. And Mike is connected. He's a billionaire Wall Street guy. He said that he expects to see SOB 121 to be repealed very quickly. That is bullish. That's what's preventing the banks from being able to custody Bitcoin, crypto, and so forth. And when they are able to custody it directly, they will be buying up and offering it to your clients. Remember years ago when I did the mock scenario of your bank, your local bank calling you, right? Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, we offer Bitcoin and crypto. We'll take care of everything for you. You can buy it through us. We'll custody it too. We'll add it to your statements and much more. Guys, that's what's coming. And Sob 121 was that BS rule from Gary Gensler and the SEC. Elizabeth Warren was the one pushing it, and she convinced Biden to veto it when both Democrats and Republicans in the House and Senate voted to repeal it. But now Trump is going to be in office, Gensler is going to be out, Elizabeth Warren has lost her power, and this thing is going to be repealed. So you can imagine what's going to happen when the news breaks that banks can officially start custodying crypto. Now, guys, quick word from our sponsor, and that is Gemini, where you can easily buy Bitcoin, altcoins, and much more. Gemini is a great exchange with a great app and many awesome features. They have a credit card, they have a stable coin, they offer staking and much more. And if you sign up with my link, you can get $15 in Bitcoin when you trade your first $100. So go check out Gemini. Link will be in the description. Now, news is coming in that SEC Commissioner Mark Uyeda, who backs Trump's plan to end the crypto crackdown, that he is likely to be Donald Trump's acting SEC chair. And this is during the transition period, because once Gensler is gone, they have to go through the legislative process and all that to pick a new SEC chair. But it looks like Mark Uyeda is going to be the one. It could be Hester Peirce. If you caught my interview with Ron Hammond of the Blockchain Association yesterday, we talked about this. And it seems like Hester Peirce doesn't necessarily want the chair role. She seems like she wants to retire. And I get it. So Mark Uyeda will be a great choice. So very, very interesting times, guys. Gensler is almost done. And I want to share what some former SEC officials are saying. John Reed Stark, who I'm not really a big fan of, but I have to give him credit. He came out and said, FYI, stick a fork in the SEC. It's done. And there's some other statements. Stuart Alderati of Ripple weighed in on John's statement, saying, John, a staunch SEC supporter, has the class to say the people have spoken. Gensler and his anti-crypto minions should voluntarily stand down, or as John explains, the SEC's new chair, when appointed, will use the agency's internal mechanisms to remove them. Either way, it's over. Wow, big statements. Jeremy Hogan also weighed in. John Reed Stark, by the way, held a Twitter Spaces, so he had a lot of things to say, but he's been a big supporter of Gensler. He's often on Twitter battling with crypto people, but even he's just like, yeah, this thing is done. Gensler's cooked. It's over. And Jeremy Hogan recapped some of the things that John said. He says, well, I wasn't sure about the nuts and bolts of it all, so I listened to the great space by John Reed Stark today, and the most likely scenario is 1, Gensler steps down before January 20th. Number 2, the new head or interim head sends out marching orders that all non-fraud crypto cases need to be disposed of. That's Ripple, that's Coinbase, and much more. The litigation team, number 3, the litigation team looks at each case and recommends to either settle or dismiss each and brings their recommendations to the commissioners, who then vote yay or nay. There will now be 3 Republicans appointed, so it will be a yay. Jeremy says, here are my thoughts on the specific actions. The Ripple case, or any case with a ruling, will be settled for a judgment amount, which is $125 million. It would be awkward to settle for less than what was already awarded by the court. Number 5, the Coinbase and other cases in litigation will simply be dismissed. Number 6, this will take some time, not January, but perhaps before the summer. But the markets don't even need to see it right away. The change alone, the dialogue, the sentiment that will be coming out from the SEC will be very different, right? So brighter days are ahead here, and the SEC is going to get cleanup here, guys. Now, Ripple's Stuart Alderati tweeted out something very interesting, that he and the team at Ripple met with Donald Trump. So he said, thank you to both campaigns for a hard-fought race and for invigorating the democratic process. Congratulations to Donald Trump. You took the time to listen to Ripple's story when we met in San Francisco this summer, and you prioritized crypto as a key policy issue. Now, let's move swiftly to end the regulation by enforcement approach we've endured in recent years and position the U.S. as the crypto capital of the world. So very interesting that they met with Donald Trump, guys. And we saw Stuart Alderati actually had donated to Donald Trump. I think he donated XRP or something like that. So things are headed in the right direction here. Really amazing stuff. Attorney Fred Rispoli weighed in, essentially saying, look, he expects that with Trump coming in to office and the fact that the Ripple team met with Donald Trump, that this SEC case is going to wrap up sooner than later. And the fine, they'll have to pay the fine, right? But a lot of the cases that are non-fraud are going to get dropped. So I think, guys, 2025 is going to be beautiful. Obviously, black swan events can cancel all that. No one can predict a black swan event, but if things go according to what we're seeing here and the things that are set in motion, bull market. We got our narratives. We have our catalysts, right? We got global liquidity. We got a change in the SEC. We got legislation coming through from Congress. We got a pro-crypto president and a pro-crypto Congress. And speaking of Congress, we got confirmation in Pennsylvania that Dave McCormick, who believes in crypto, he's pro-crypto, has officially won the Senate seat. So the count was finally done. And guess what? The guy he was running against was a Democrat. And unfortunately, a lot of Democrats, whether they were true believers or not, who aligned themselves to Elizabeth Warren's dumb anti-crypto army, they are feeling the pain. What have I been telling you guys? What have I been saying for months? They're going to feel it in the elections and the polls. They were playing with fire. They followed Elizabeth Warren and her nonsense. And even if you are a Democrat and you're not a Republican, you didn't vote for Trump, you got to admit that this was an epic failure by the Democrats. And I'm an independent, so I'm speaking from a neutral standpoint, right? There's things I agree with Democrats with. There's things I agree with conservatives on, right? Or Republicans on. So this was an all-time epic fail. And the Democrats, while they were up against other challenges in the election, the fact that you went against an entire industry and that industry turned around and spent the most money in the election, talk about an epic screw up. And a lot of Democrats are probably pissed off at Elizabeth Warren, right? You guys can imagine. They're not going to come out and say it, but you can imagine that they're probably really pissed off. And I've been telling you guys that we were seeing it on Super Tuesday and in the primaries. And now come the election, the lion's share of the victories went to pro-crypto candidates, both in the House and the Senate. So this is what happens when you do something stupid as going against a neutral technology and unfairly and unlawfully attack an industry that is the future of the internet and how we do commerce and much more. So, well, hopefully a lot of these folks learn their lessons. And don't get me wrong, not all Democrats are anti-crypto. There are many very smart minds who are pro-crypto on the Democrat side. Wiley Nickel, Ro Khanna, Richie Torres. I mean, Richie Torres, amazing, right? He was taking down Gensler in many different ways throughout the years. But unfortunately, the amount of clowns that aligned themselves with Elizabeth Warren are now feeling it. And because of that clown activity, they can go work at a circus because they followed Elizabeth Warren. All right, guys, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Be sure to grab a copy of my book, Rethinking Crypto, on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. If you bought a copy already, be sure to leave a rating and review. Also, be sure to sign up for my free email newsletter on Substack. It's 100% free. Thank you guys for your support. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.